Yo, welcome back. Welcome back to the hood. You know how it is around here. That might be the intro. I'm gonna try to every time. Welcome back to the hood. You know what it is. You hear the beeps in the background, random people yelling outside and stuff. Welcome back to the hood, man. Come on now. You back at it with another Izuku. You feel me? What if he was a villain? And yeah. So if I remember correctly, we basically just got past the 10-month arc. Couple things happened, right? Some things that I didn't say back then. Well, I think I did say some things, right? Zuku allowing certain people to be, to do what they want for real, right? Allowing everybody to do what they want. If you don't want to be a part of this villain stuff, you ain't gotta be a part of it, right? If you don't want to be, if you don't want to, you don't even want to be here. You want to go do something else. Go do something else, bro. You feel me? It's about it's on that laissez-faire mentality. So, obviously, some people leave. Starting with what's his name? Jack. Yeah, Jack gone. But Jack, it took a couple months in though, right? It was like a 8 months deep, right, of the whole situation. So nobody left until Jack left. But he was talking about he wanted to be a hero type stuff. And he didn't think that would be, super. He didn't want to do it here, basically. So, he leave. A couple other people leave. They'll probably be back. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But yeah, everybody see him gone, right? They have a party for him before he goes. They chilling. Speaking of hero stuff, we should probably get back to Bakugo and his entrance exam, right? He in there, like I said before, he acting completely different than he would be in canon because before the quirks, right? Before the quirks, they were friends, right? Him and Izuku were friends before the quirks. Then the quirks happened, and they drifted apart, and then they got aggressive with each other. But y'all know this because I've said this already. So continuing on, right? Let's just look in the perspective of Bakugo and them real quick, right? He gotta go through the entrance exam. He's seeing President Mike. He out there talking about the pointers and all that, right? Obviously, Bakugo is taking it seriously, just on some atonement activities, right? And he ain't causing no problems for nobody, right? They get to the field. My boy Bakugo already in the front, he ain't never been no lack person, right? And he gotta make it. That's how you feel. He gotta make it for Izuku, for they childhood self, for the dream, for both of their dreams of wanting to be number one. Now Bakugo doesn't have any run in with it either, but Uraraka does pull up on him, talking about some talking about some just trying to relate to him real quick, right? Because Uraraka's mad nervous right now, so she goes some like, "Dang, God, one last step before the UA," and Bakugo barely even recognized that she was there. He was like, "Huh?" Right? It's like, I'm just saying, like, this the last test, and we can get to UA and see what happens, right? And normally, right, as it is stated in canon, that Bakugo don't interact with girls well, right? At least not a lot of them. So, but like I was saying, with this, with his new backstory, he lit down, he see her, he looking at her, and he like, one last step for us to be heroes, because he on that, no way to lose type mentality, right? There's nothing else stop. There's really nothing that could stop him from being a hero, right? So he expressed that to her, like, there's nothing. It's the last step before we're able to be heroes. And yeah, even though Uraraka is still kind of nervous, seeing his confidence, she kind of wanna relate a little bit, trying to at least match the energy, the smallest amount of inspiration. She trying to get anything she can, honestly. And President might pop up out of nowhere talking about So what are y'all waiting for? There's no timers in a real battle. Hurry up and move. You feel me? Like, and everybody started going. You feel me? My boy Bakugo, he got the explosions, exploding forward. He already flying in the air, crashing on every robot in sight. Obviously he took a break from training his quirk for a while, but maybe his body needed that break because right now he moving with some flow state. He just out here jumping from robot to robot, all kinds of flips, smashing. Well, not smashing, exploding every last one of them. He ain't even tired. You feel just going and going and going, right? Uraraka was there, she was doing her thing with the zero gravity stuff, right? Ida was there, being Ida. Bakugo doing his thing. And everybody else is doing their thing. Yeah, Bakugo just taking out his aggression on these robots. Every ounce of self-loathing, any amount of like just internal struggle, it's all getting put out into these robots. He's just in a flow state, just crashing out on them mentally and physically, of course. But just crashing out on them, just taking them all down. He barely even noticed some of the kids running by, panicking, right? But obviously, he got situational awareness. He trying to see something. He like, what the heck, you know? He see the 0-pointer, huge. He almost feel like he want to go take that one out too, but he know it's not gonna get him no points. He ain't really stressing about it. He just know he want to release his anger for some reason, right? He been really holding it back this whole time, and now fighting robots is the easiest way to get that out right now. But like I said, he ain't really like stressed about it until he sees Uraraka trapped under the rubble. And realizing that she's stuck and there ain't no way for her to get herself out, he gotta act, right? Somewhere deep inside of his chest, he knows in this situation, Izuku would have acted. No hesitation. And he goes. He explodes over there, flying down there, trying to assess the situation. She like, oh, you gotta get out of here. It's too dangerous, right? He like grab a side of the chunk of the concrete that's on her legs, explode that shit off. Yeah, pick her up, put her on his back, on some piggyback style, starts exploding upwards again, right? He gotta adjust to the new weight that's on his body so he could actively fly. But it ain't too difficult for him. He dodged the foot, and she's like, "Oh, you saved me, thank you." He was like, "Nah, ain't it?" Because this is Bakugo. You remember the situation that Izuku and Bakugo had in canon? Protect and save to protect. Whatever they was talking about, it was. Nah, I'm joking. Let me focus again. About to be just about to get a little goofy. All right, let me calm down. Let me focus. All right, let me calm down. Let me focus. Right, But he ain't letting the 0-pointer slide now. He knows we're 0 points, but at the same time, he can't. He came over here to save somebody. Now he gotta beat the villain after he saved the people. It just so happens that Uraraka is still on his back. He, with 0-pointer like low key kind of swatting at him a little bit, right? He zipping between the arms and stuff. He going, exploding up to the face. He about to let all his aggression out right here. One huge explosion to the face. It ain't destroy him completely, but that's some damage. That's a whole lot of damage. So much it pushed Bakugo back a little bit, but he was in the air. It wasn't a lot of resistance. Either way though, he's saving people, right? They fall down. Bakugo make sure they had a safe landing. 0-pointer fall back. It's time. Timer over. Bakugo put her down when they get down to the to the ground. And she like, wow, I thought you were just some kind of fight junkie, but you really risked your life to save me and take down the villain. Like, almost like some, All Might, you know, just a little bit of glaze for Bakugo. Because I said so. Dang, like, come on, let's focus again. You know what the plan is. Bakugo, right now, he's not even feeling worthy of that right now. mentally deluded. He mentally just skewed right now. He is not in the mentality to accept that compliment for real. So he kind of like dismisses. He's like, nah, but I am gonna get better, and I am gonna be the number one hero. And she kind of look at it and like, dang, all that confidence, like maybe I can try to keep up with him one time. Just put a little more effort in, maybe. But that's not her goal anyway. She's trying to get some money for the parents. But that's besides the point. And then Bakugo realized that she called him a fight junkie, so he turned around and was like, "Man, what do you mean fight junkie? Like, I just like it's like I don't like fighting. We fight to save people. Like, you gotta fight the villain so you can save the people." Like, blah blah. He trying to explain the mentality of what he got going on. She laughing. Everybody leave. Nurse, whatever her name was, nurse girl, nurse. What is her name? Granny, nurse, fuck. What is her name, bro? Granny, shit. What is it, bro? It was like it's not like a lady nurse or recovery girl. That's what it was, nigga. Anyway, recovery girl shows up. She healing people, right? Anybody that needs a little bit of healing. Bakugo did tinge his arm a little bit with that last explosion. Realized his limits, right? He got to go work some more, put some more work in, right? But other than that, it pretty much done with that, man. That's the entrance exam, right? Bakugo go home. He see his parents. Say Bakugo mom try to yell at him about being late or whatever, but he don't even yell back, so she calmed down too. So it's like, dang, the dynamic is shifting. Obviously, they had the news on, some reports about some villains getting away or whatever. Heroes didn't catch them. Increase in guns, right? Whole bunch of stuff has happened on the news. The news ain't got nothing ain't nothing good to talk about in the news, respectfully. So Bakugo go in his room and he think about his day. As the sun goes down, right, and the night rises, Izuku, he outside. He outside, man. They outside. It's not even just him. He out there with a couple different people. They masked up. Yeah, feel me. They got the whole identity covered. One of them, Aiden. Aiden asked him, it's like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you sure All Might not gonna pull up and nothing? Because to everybody involved, All Might is still a huge possibility and a problem. Luckily for Izuku, he knows All Might's been hurt. All Might got a limit. You feel me? He knows this. Before they go out, he be looking at All Might's schedule. He be looking at the times All Might be on the days. He done during the 10 months he done found out like, oh yeah, he can't even be out for that long no more. He a couple hours, 2, 3, 6, 8. But that All Might getting weaker. All Might can't keep up. All Might can't do what he used to be doing. Now, is Izuku going to tell anybody else this? No. They need to do what he wants without any of that, right? At least that's how Izuku feels. A lot of them aren't. That's why, like, but it's like, okay, let me put this down in like numbers. Out of everybody in the orphanage, about like, including the people that had left, a smooth 40% of them is in this villain stuff for real. Now, of the 60 that isn't of this shit for real, about like 40% of them don't really want to be in the field, but they are willing to protect the orphanage, right? And the rest are just there because they don't have anything else to do. And that's all of the kids, not including the small children. Just everybody that actually had rights. Obviously, the small children have rights too, but I mean, I'm talking about the people that can make their own decisions for real and not have bedtimes and shit. Either way. So, of the entire orphanage, including the motherfuckers that love, he only got like 40% of the people doing what he wants whenever he says it, basically. On the concept of none of this is going to fall on them anyway. Izuku's the scapegoat. So unless they get caught, so they'll just try their hardest not to get caught. But you know, they're all kids anyway. They want to do bad shit. Either way, you know, they outside, and the reason for them being outside today is because over these 10 months they've been doing random villainous activities, of course, but Izuku's been learning more about the people that's working for him. In this time, Crystal, she exposed a little bit too much to him. Mainly more about her backstory and what's going on with her family situation, right? And you know, y'all already know that because of her quirk, they got rid of her. Well, they got rid of her because they didn't want it. They thought it was on some villainous activities, right? And they didn't want anything to do with that in their family. Now, Crystal family also got money on them, a lot of money on them. Like they up there. They not struggling in the slightest. So that's just more of a reason for Izuku. You know, he obviously don't let Crystal know that, but you know, Izuku's going off of the principle like, oh, they hurt one of my people, so they gotta hurt too, unless you don't want that to happen. And Crystal, you know, after having some time to think about it, it's like, yeah, man, like, you know, it's their fault that I'm in this position anyway, right? Like, I gotta get back on, because all Crystal's surrounded by is people that's willing to get back on people that's wronged them. So, you know how that should work. In this little squadron that they got going, Toga, because you know why. Y'all know why Toga's here. Two reasons now. Because she messing with Crystal a lot more than she used to. And because she been messing with Izuku. But that's neither here nor there. And she also heard about this, right? Izuku would have told everybody that was in the squad. All 40%. Actually, everybody in the orphanage before they go out. Probably. Who knows, really. I ain't guaranteeing nothing right now. Oh, yeah. So, like I was saying, Toga's there. Crystal's there. Izuku's there, obviously, because he's running the ditch. Aiden's there, from what I said, also. And Kai's there. I think that's about it. And Kai's gotten a lot stronger. Like, Izuku's been reshaping his mind on how that quirk kind of works and what he could possibly do with it. And now, really, it's just up to Kai on how much he want to, how much he want to go along with it, how much he want to put some creative spins on what's happening. Y'all probably figure out who it is, who this character is based off of later. Either way, right now, with the help of Aiden, they've been tracking Crystal's dad. Because more than anything, Crystal wanted to know what was going on with her family anyway. Like she was an only daughter, right? And, she loved her parents, but obviously her parents didn't love her. So she wanted to just check in first and foremost, right? She's really going to decide what's going to happen to them when she sees what they're doing, because she kind of understands the reason why they got rid of her, but she just can't fully accept it that much. Either way, they all posted in a car. They watching, they've been peeping them, and they really been watching them for a minute, right? They've been watching them since maybe late afternoon. He just been out and about, and because he be working. He be working at the bank, so he clocked out. He just been out chilling the whole time. You feel me? So they just been monitoring his position. You feel me? And he went to the store. He done got some groceries. You feel me? They don't know what's in the bags, but he done got some stuff, right? He just been driving around chilling, right? He just been chilling. They've been following him. Trying to not make it too obvious, right? Obviously, we got my boy Aiden as the driver. He the driver. You feel me? He gotta be doing something. He can't be doing nothing. And yeah, they all masked up. That, like I said before, they all masked up. They've been following, right? And Izuku, he looking at Crystal like, hey, is this enough? Like, because they can't just be following them all day, right? Like, they gotta know what's going on eventually, right? And she was just like, I mean, I guess I'll I'm willing to confront him. But we can wait till he get to the house or whatever, right? It's like, okay, bet. You feel me? That's what they thinking the plan is, right? They gonna wait. They gonna get to the house, right? She ready to confront him now. But then obviously, dude start he done made a weird turn. Like he ain't going to the house. They following them still. Zuko like, where you going? Because Aiden already done told them where they house at, right? Plus Crystal remembered where their old house was at. She don't know about the new house, but that's besides the point. He done pulled up. He done pulled up at at a park. They on the outside of the park though, right? Like it's one of them big parks. Like you walk in and see the nature or whatever the fuck. You feel me? But either way, he done hopped out. He done walked down the sidewalk and shit, right? Izuku and his people, they still posted at the corner, right? They just been watching. And Crystal see her mom. You feel me? So not only because the mom works too. It's not just a one parent house. Well, one parent working household. Obviously they well off, but they being responsible. You feel me? And Crystal see her mom, her dad got some groceries or whatever, right? They got the bags, and then Crystal see a kid, right? Two kids actually, and like I said before, like Crystal, a only child. She don't know where these children coming from, and just seeing the way that these kids hugging her dad and her dad smiling way more with these kids than her dad ever done smiled with her before, right? Seeing her dad, not even slightly aggressive with her mom, it's hitting her. You feel me in her chest, like she like, dang, like maybe I was always the problem. Like maybe it was always my fault. Like dang, like I must have just been destined to be a villain. You feel me? That's where her mind goes firstly. Zuku, he put the pieces together as well. Obviously, Kai don't know what's going on. Not at all. He don't know who these people are. That's besides the point. uh, Zuku, he started putting the puzzle pieces together as well. He like, oh, I see. Crystal look over at him like, he must be thinking the same thing she thinking. Basically, like, oh, it really was Crystal that was the problem the whole time. Basically, right? They really blamed you for everything. And Crystal like, huh? Because that's not what she was expecting him to hear, right? It was like, just because your quirk could be a little more dangerous than they wanted it to be, and everything else in their relationship just kept falling and falling. They really kept blaming you over and over again. So the moment they kick you out finally on something they could probably agree on, they get their act together finally. Like they couldn't have did that with you, huh? And this is S tier instigating. Probably not that high. B tier instigating. Either way. But the problem is that Crystal can't see any flaws in his logic. It has to have been that. They have to have been blaming their shortcomings on her. They have to have gotten rid of her and decided that they were going to do better themselves. And obviously this is making Crystal expeditiously more angry than she ever felt possible. She didn't know she could be that mad. She didn't even know she could get that angry because they blamed her for everything. It's what she's feeling now, right? And it wasn't even her fault. She was a kid. She let Nezuko cloud her whole mindset, mentally just check her into a whole new reality where she not a victim. She opposition. These ain't people that hurt her. They the enemy. You feel me? So, Crystal damn near hop out the car. No mask or anything, right? Zuko he had to check her. He had to check her, right? Pulled her back in the car. It was like, you know what to do. So I'm not gonna stop you. But you know what I have, but you know what I want you to do as well. And she like, oh yeah, like mentally, she like, oh shit, yeah, I'm part of this. I'm part of this. Even though she want them to see her face bad, she can't do it like this. She can't show her face to them like this. But yeah, she mad as fuck, right? So Izuku give her a gun, one of his guns, because he been having old girl make some guns for her. Like I said before, Amelia, that's her name. Almost forgot her name. You been having Amelia make her guns for him. He gave her, that pistol, that 4.55, 9mm. No, I'm joking. I gave him that pistol though, right? That clean G17. No. What the fuck am I talking about? That smooth Generation 4 G17, my boy. Anyway, right? He slide that to her, She put the face mask on and everything. She hopped out the car. And while they was talking, obviously, Aiden, turned down their street, the family still having family, they, enjoying themselves and all this, right? And Aiden, he done pulled up kind of a little bit back. He ain't trying to be right up on them, right? He just, he still trying to remain unsuspicious. You feel me? He done, obviously he done hacked into their bank account and stuff already. He taking some money, but that's just, because Aiden got expensive taste. All right, he wanted a little bit of that, some of that luxury, but that's a side hustle that he shared with Izuku, and they share with the rest of the people in the orphanage, right? That's besides the point though. Old girl hop out, and it's not like they got like voice modifiers in the mask or anything. It's just a mask that they found and were able to buy a lot of. So, she like, hey, y'all remember me? And the family turn around, they're like, what the fuck? Obviously the dad out here, he done seen he been watching the news. He done heard about, he done heard a little bit about a villain group that's like this, right? He don't know what's going on, but he know he needs to protect his family though, right? They ain't got strong quirks either, right? They quirks is like kind of verbal plus a little mental effects, but he can't do nothing right now that's gonna stop this hopping trying to take the bullets. Now the thing with Crystal is that Crystal been skipping out on the training for real, especially the gun training, right? A lot of people go with the gun training. Not a lot of people. Some people are going with the gun training. Crystal's not one of them. The only people that's really been out here trying to, get a little bit on some of that, Aiden, Toga, even though she ain't necessarily fully messing with it, but she does do it because Izuku wants her to. The teleporting twins. Not a lot of people going with the gun training because they ain't comfortable with it, right? Which is fair. He ain't gonna force them. And because of this, Crystal missing these shots. I mean, she don't know how to shoot a gun for real, but she's scaring a whole bunch of people, and that's what Izuku wants a lot. That's what Izuku mess with. Scaring people is all the things that Izuku wants to do. He wants everybody scared. Nobody should be safe. Nobody should feel safe around Izuku in his squad. So she busting shots off. She hit a shoulder. She hit a leg, right? But she emptied the whole clip before she hit any of that. So it's just what it is. She about to go up there and try to like hypnotize him because she mad as fuck. She ain't, so she gonna have to take her mask off to do it, but she mad as fuck. She wanted to, for one, she wanted to be known, and for two, she don't want these niggas to live no more. Before any of that can even happen though, Crystal bursts into laughter. I mean, she started laughing her ass off. She can't even take off the mask no more. She hunched over, grabbing her stomach and shit. Izuku looking at this, he like, fuck, because Izuku, he fucks with quirks, right? He used to fuck with heroes. He knows who the fuck this is. As Miss Joe pulls up, and it's like, is there a new trend I haven't heard about? What's up with everybody playing with guns nowadays? She like somewhere down the street, you feel me, posing on some hero shit, and While Crystal is laughing, even though she knows this gun ain't got no bullets in it, she points it at Miss Joke. And Miss Joke, she charged for it. She rushed. You feel me? And she while Crystal is still laughing, Miss Joke kicks the gun out of Crystal hand, sending her, arm flying up. Crystal about to fall back. She like, you should watch where you aim that. Playing with those are dangerous, or whatever, at whatever at the end of the day. Izuku done hopped out the car. Kada hopped out the car, right? He done created like a little circle-ish area of wind that basically pushes the Izuku forward to grab Crystal, and is trying to whip Miss Joke out of the area. Miss Joke is light, so she does get pushed out of the way, and Izuku gets dragged back into the car. Kai was hanging out the window while he was doing that, but that's besides the point, right? Kai hopped back in, and Miss Joke trying to let her quirk go off again. Trying to get these people to laugh as well, right? Izuku yell at Aiden, "Hey, step on the gas, man!" They skirt off, right? They trying to drive off. Aiden, he trying to whip the car. That boy run into Fat Gun. He hopped out of the into the street, caught the car, absorbed the impact. And he's like, "Oh, see Daisy." Yeah, that like, "Oh, man, y'all driving a little fast there." They trying to catch him, right? It's some hero shit. They was planning this. Luckily for Izuku, he came up with some ideas as well, and he got more than one gun. But that shit not gonna work on Fat Gun. He knows that nigga quirk. So Izuku, he yell out, "Plan D!" Everybody jump off. So Izuku, he like, "Everybody run!" And niggas hop out the car. They jump out the car. They running into the city block, right? They hitting the alleys and shit, right? Fat Gun ain't fast enough to catch him, and Miss Joke is running after him. After a couple of them, but they split up. You feel me? They running off into the alleyways and shit, right? While they hitting these alleyways and stuff, Toga Toga did her Toga thing. She dropped down from above, land on Miss Joke, taking some blood. She was like, "You look really pretty. Do you mind if I become you?" It's Miss Joke. This is just some random villain in a mask. You don't know who this is, but she tried to like push her body off the ground, whip back with the arm, try to backhand fist him. Toga too smooth for that. She done hopped off, disappeared. A for real villain v hero fight round here. And she bleeding. But the wound ain't super deep. Plus she done borrowed like syringes from what is her name? Nurse, right? We just call her Nurse. She done borrowed some syringes from Nurse. So she really just extracting blood from people. Miss Joe quirks activate. And, as she just listening and trying to hear, she start hearing Toga voice echoing all around her, just laughing and laughing and laughing until she hear it most prominently from above as Toga trying to strike down on her again. Leaving that fight, let's go over here to Fat Gum, right? Fat Gum chasing down some kids. Aiden and Kai together. Fat Gun way too heavy to be moved with Aiden quirk right now. I mean, unless he like really try, but he gonna need time to get it to be that strong. So they kind of just leaving Fat Gun behind, dusting him. At least that's what they think is happening. Until Endeavor pulls up. Yeah, number 2 hero pulls up. Fire, flame, flow. And he out here just trying to stop some villains, right? He ain't trying to hear none of that shit. Luckily for Aiden, Kai got a wing quirk. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Endeavor to do what he gotta do, but obviously Endeavor gonna do it anyway. At least he gonna try to. But they surrounded. right? They hit an alleyway, you know, they trying to get away from him. Endeavor, he just planning to cut him off anyway, and Fat Gum gonna come from behind. And that's what happens. I mean, they hit the alleyway, right? They don't want to split up. At least they ain't trying to leave from Kai because Endeavor's here, and if they do, then that's one down. You feel me? So they run around. Aiden looking around at at the Google Maps. He trying to see some shit he could activate, right? He trying to, he looking around with his eyes using his quirk. Shit ain't around for him to activate for real, right? At least there's some cameras around, but he can't do anything with the level of shit that is around because they're dusting Fat Gum, so he's not close enough for him to get hit with anything right now, and Endeavor's about to cut him off as far as he understands. So he like, Kyle, we can't keep running in this direction. We gotta do something else. He was like, what else do you need us to do, bro? There's only this way to go. So instead, Kyle look around, right? He see locked door right here. He pull out his strap with the silencer on it. He try to open the door with the gun, right? He's shooting the hinges. He's shooting the lock. Thank goodness, or evilness, whatever. Who cares, right? It opens up a little bit. Kai crash in because Kai's a little bit stronger than Aiden is. They hiding in this little shop. Fat Gun pulls up. Feel me? He thought he heard some bullets going off, or at least something hitting some metal pretty hard. He see the door cracked open. He contacts Endeavor like, I think they hiding in this store, right? And Endeavor, he's still in the sky. You feel me? He looking down. And he like, don't let them get away. Miss Joke is handling one of them right now. That means there's two unaccounted for. And Fat Gun's like, yes, but they don't seem like they want to fight. They seem like they want to run. So he gonna need Endeavor help way more than he wants to admit for real. But which means he gonna need Endeavor's help, right? So Endeavor like, I'll be there type shit, right? Because you know how Endeavor be. And he fall from the sky and stuff. And he land where Fat Gum is, and he go in and start illuminating the room and shit. Now, cutting from that situation, Izuku's also hiding in the alleyway with Crystal. And Crystal is crying like a bitch. and Crystal crying, right? 'Cause, she didn't need for her emotions to happen, for this shit to happen like this, right? She didn't want it to happen like this. And, she don't want to, like, drag everybody else down because her emotions spiked. And Izuku's like, calm down. Nobody is going to jail tonight. And she's like, how can you be so sure? And Izuku, because Izuku been on his phone this whole time. And he just sent his location to Toga, Kai, and Aiden, just in case they separated. He looking at his phone and was like, they don't seem to have another hero set to find us. And even if they do, they haven't found us yet. Secondly, I've got a plan for this. Cutting back to Toga real quick because we left her. She's still laughing like a bitch. But she's also still focused, which is scaring the hell out of Miss Joke. Miss Joke don't know if she gonna live to see it tomorrow after this one. But she hears a little ding happening because Toga keep her notifications on, especially for Izuku. But besides the point, and she look in that direction where she sees Toga with a knife and on her phone chilling up against a wall, and she was like, "You're under arrest, villain," type shit, right? And Toga's like, it seems like Izuku wants me to leave now. You're lucky. This is pretty fun. And I got enough blood from you. And, the knife that she's been twirling in her hand, Miss Joe tried to run up on her. Toga swing that boy at her. Like, just toss it. Full blade first. Miss Joe got to dodge. And when she looked back, Toga gone. It's got her there. Wraps. So, she take a break because she feel like she alive. And that's good enough for her right now. You feel me? Now back to Kai and Aiden. Aiden, who had his notifications off, helped the buzz. Kai, who didn't have his notifications off, had also dinged. And Endeavor, he look in that direction, and you know, they both stand up, hands in the air. Obviously, Aiden done looked at his phone already. He see what's going on, and Endeavor's like, "Don't even try to run." And you know, Aiden still got his phone in his hand. They came in here for a reason, right? Fat Gun blocking the entrance. So, using, his eyes, because he connects with most things electronical. The first thing he does is turn on the water sprinklers using his phone, because he needs a device to like activate it for him. He can't do it physically by himself right now. So using his phone, he's hacked into the sprinkler system. He turns them bitches on. This damn salt, obviously, it's water spreading all over the place. It's pissing off Endeavor. He is mad right now. So he started turning up, whole bunch of steam in the air. Fagon's like, "Hey, you good in there? What's going on?" Kai, before, because he's not even really thinking. He going off instincts. He feels like Endeavor about to throw some fire at him. So he started, generating wind around the room. Every item in the room starts spinning in circles, running into Endeavor. Both Aiden and Kai duck. Endeavor got flames going around. They getting swept into the fire, the wind. They about to burn this whole bitch down right now. Next thing Aiden does is activate the automatic shutters, right? So they go up and he can leave. You feel? Obviously the door is still locked, but it's glass. So when Kai sees the shutters up, right? Obviously Endeavor sees the shutters up as well, but he's like, "Dead over my dead body. Are they about to are they about to get out of this situation?" Kai just sends the air off in the glass direction, so that all the debris and can crash through the glass and they can run off, right? Which is some shit that Endeavor didn't expect. He for some reason he just didn't think that shit was gonna happen. Plus there was fire all over the place anyway. He wasn't gonna be able to, before he wasn't gonna be able to stop them before that shit happened. But now that shit has happened, Endeavor he like, shit, I'm about to crash, basically, right? He boosts himself towards where he's seen them last, which damn near gets Kai, because he was behind Aiden. And Aiden turned around, was like, "Izuku, let's go," because they all supposed to go under the same code name, right? And they run off. You feel me? He dragging them off. Endeavor is still pissed off. He chasing after him and shit. Fat Gun down there left behind because he ain't fitting in there. He ain't going in there with all that fire. So with all that happening, Aiden ends up, activating a car that's further along down the street to drive towards them full speed, basically. And Endeavor catching up because that motherfucker fast. Kai, drags the car even faster towards them, trying to hit Endeavor with it. Now Endeavor got to dodge the car. They swoop into an alleyway. Once he done moved around from the car, he barely see him go down the alleyway. Lucky for Kai and Aiden, they are not super far away from Izuku and Crystal. Toga's already there. She done made it already. She handled her shit. Endeavor is chasing them down, and he sees this portal that he doesn't know where it goes to, but he sees this portal, and he sees the people that he was chasing already in the portal. Toga, who he doesn't know is Toga, do a little peace sign, hop in the portal as well. Crystal is staying behind with Izuku because she knows she could probably hypnotize Endeavor if need be, just in case he gets too close. But because people are already leaving, Endeavor's like, "Who are you?" type shit. And Izuku, you look at him, he's like, "I'm Izuku Midoriya," which, Endeavor doesn't know anything about that, but he feels like he got a name. He also doesn't know if this is the same person that he was just chasing, because he heard Aiden call Kai Izuku. It's a good strategy for Izuku's sake. Either way, he tried to charge forward, handle them with the explosions. They're right here next to the portal. They get dragged in, and the portal closes, and that's wraps. Mission failed. We'll get them next time. Type shit. You feel me? Like that's it. Finally, because shit, it was looking dangerous for a smooth ass revenge plot. You feel me? Endeavor mad as fuck. I mean, he pissed. He he is pissed off right now, bro. Kyle was also probably using his wind quirk to disrupt Endeavor's speed so that he wouldn't be able to get them as fast, but he hopped into the portal. So it'd be like that. And yeah, they escape. Izuku, Crystal, Kai, Aiden, they all in the lounge. You feel me? Madison and Amelia pop up. They're like, what happened to y'all? And Izuku, he explained the story. At least into all the parts that he knows. Obviously, Kai would have been interjecting about some stuff that he did with Aiden. Toga is willing to tell people what she was doing. They accept her for that. At least they do around here, which is really good for Toga. But yeah. And Crystal wanted to apologize to everybody because she let her emotions get the best of her, and it almost cost everybody their freedom, and this, that, the third, yada yada yada. Izuku isn't having none of that. They're villains. Obviously, the heroes was gonna pop up eventually one day. He's actually glad that it happened sooner rather than later, and he had a plan to make sure they all get out of it anyway, right? They was gonna have one of the brothers teleport to the exact location and bring his brother, and then his brother was gonna make a portal back to the crib. That's all that needed to happen. Yeah, like there's no reason for her to feel bad for what happened because everything that happened was within his thought process. Like, he didn't fully expect that Endeavor would pull up because that shit was scary. But, overall, yeah, like, it wasn't terrible. There was things that needed that he had it all worked out anyway. You feel me? Either way, Izuku, he go in his room because he got to change. He needs some fresh air. That was a dangerous situation, and he ain't done. You feel me? I mean, that's mentally how he feeling right now. He ain't done yet. He got things he got to do. He just needs to recuperate real quick, right? So he got to go outside and get some fresh air. Everybody else, they didn't win the conflict. They didn't succeed. So they don't really feel like partying for real. Also, they don't know how Izuku would feel about them partying, even though they didn't succeed, which is fine. And they end up, also just going to sleep. Anybody that was potentially injured went and visit nurse, and she'd be able to assist in those situations. Also, Toga getting the blood of that hero was some smooth activities, right? Obviously, they gotta store that properly. Toga also just wants something for herself, so I mean they gotta, she gonna have to split it with him, obviously, but that's besides the point. Izuku leave, he go get some fresh air. It's not like anybody's seen his face. He can walk around however much he wants. And, he just seeing a whole bunch of just violence, towards people with mutation quirks, right? Towards people that have weak quirks. In worser neighborhoods, the violence rate towards people that are different or weaker, obviously that goes up. He just walking around looking at them. If somebody try him, he got the he got the grip on. He got the anyway. Let's continue. We back to Bakugo, right? Because the story got to continue. If the story has to continue, all right. There needs to be a reference to where the story is, and right now that's Bakugo. You feel me? Because he's the only one that's actively following the plot line of the story. Either way, he wake up, he get ready for school. He got the uniform and everything, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Either way, he got the uniform and everything. They he go to the class. He one of the first ones in there. He being regular this time. He ain't trying to show out or nothing because he trying to be better. Like I said previously, he trying to. Not only is he trying to be number one, he feel like he got the resolve to be number one now. He needs to be number one, not even for himself no more. He can be spreading peace. But that's besides the point, right? He get in there, he chilling. Everybody, all the other kids start, shuffling in. They talking. He ain't really talking to nobody, obviously, but just chilling. It's a good day. And they happy that they there. Eventually, Aizawa pop up on his regular activities, of course. What's all these motherfuckers doing over here talking? Y'all ain't supposed to be socializing. Y'all supposed to be ready to be heroes. What's good? Everybody they gotta. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Sit in my seat real quick. Now, obviously, I was out here. He changing the rules on them and all that, right? They ain't going to they ain't about to do none of that normal school stuff. We're going straight to the field. Let me see what that power is and if I gotta kick you off. That's what they own. Obviously, there's some students that be like, it's like, hey, I mean, the rules though, either. Momo as well, but that's besides the point. The rules though. I was all like, hold on, am I hearing niggas talking back to me? Wait a minute, what am I about it? No, I'm joking. But for real, they get to there, they change the fits, get the gym clothes on, they gotta take the first test of the series, basically. You feel me? And they all, obviously they start off with the ball throw situation. My boy Bakugo, he hit that boy, undisputed. He the undisputed, well, other than Ochako, who makes that boy go infinity and beyond. Speaking of Ochako, she been talking to Bakugo a little bit. They've been slightly conversating. Obviously, Aizawa ain't here for none of that, but I mean, he ain't gonna be pressing them like that. Obviously they was talking in the actual show, so yeah, obviously Ochako just trying to find out more about Bakugo because she don't know nothing about Bakugo. So yeah, everybody, it all pretty much, follows into the canon situation. Everybody, they doing their thing. You feel me? It's all basically of the same situation without Izuku being there. Instead of Izuku, there is this new kid, who also ends up basically last place. They did good on some things. It's not like they're quirkless, but the quirk just bad. You feel me? So it's some sort of strength quirk, as far as Bakugo can tell. It's genuinely just some sort of strength quirk. It's just it's not like it's super powerful or nothing. It just seemed like a weak quirk to him. Aizawa, obviously, he gotta talk down to him real quick because it's like, hey, you ain't gonna be able to save nobody if you don't lock in. Like, how Aizawa be. He talking down to him real quick, right? You gotta motivate him. You feel me? And he also got to see if that boy got that fire in him. If he even willing to even put the effort in to even try to be a hero. You feel me? And this boy, what should I name this nigga? Dakota. Basically, everything is going the same as normal, right? And Aizawa is, pressing some random, like I said previously. You feel me? And Dakota, that's the random's name. He out here, and they got one more thing, like a challenge they gotta do. Basically, if he doesn't like show Aizawa anything special in this last challenge thing they got going on, Aizawa gonna kick him out the class. That's pretty much what it is, right? And it's the race one. So you up against your classmate, right? Obviously, this boy Dakota, because I gotta make him an underdog real quick. He going up against Bakugo. Bakugo, mentally, he always gotta win. He can't lose. You feel me? He can't lose, right? So You know, Aizawa who practically set him up for failure, but also trying to see if there's a diamond in this rough. You feel me? Put him up against one of the strongest contenders, and that boy Dakota, he don't back down from no challenge. He psyching himself up. He mentally preparing himself, right? Activating the quirk. Obviously, Aizawa hit that goal, right? Gunshots in the air. Bakugo, he exploding forward. He trying to get he trying to get to that finish line, right? Somehow, because obviously Dakota started off slower, and then it's just like something clicked in him, and he started speeding up, mentally, physically, speeding up, chasing down Bakugo. He catch up. He still lose, but that was some good timing. He showed Aizawa something. Aizawa didn't think he had anything in him, but he showed Aizawa something. He's like, wait a minute. Niggas didn't know who was gonna win in that last little bit. Bakugo was surprised that he caught up that fast. It was neck and neck real quick. Bakugo had to let that last explosion off. Had to win. You feel me? Because he can't lose. That's how you feel. A whole bunch of people, they talking to this boy Dakota. You feel me? They trying to be like, dang, I didn't know you can get that fast. What happened? Wow. They trying to, he over here getting all the HUD. No, I'm joking. But for real though, everybody messing with him because that was an underdog situation. They didn't think he would get there. Obviously, Aizawa got to calm everybody else down because they supposed to be racing as well. They go through the situation. They got Dakota ended up getting a whole bunch of more points. Ain't nobody getting expelled. Bakugo want to talk to Dakota, but he also going through something. You feel me? So he ain't really trying for real. But there's a whole bunch of other guys in the class who, they want to, intermingle. You feel me? They want to chill. They want to talk to the homies. So, they end up talking to Bakugo just as much as they end up talking to Dakota. And, Dakota and Bakugo get put in similar friend groups at times. Shit sparking off. You feel me? They start talking at times. Besides the point, though. It's the end of the day. And, people going home. Because that's what happens when it's the end of the day and you ain't got to be the place that you don't want to be no more, right? You can go home. Anyway, back over here with Izuku. He just got back to the crib, to the orphanage. Some of the people still looking around, kind of disheartened. It's getting dark. You know what happens when it get dark outside? Freaks come out at night. Now I'm joking. But for real though, it's getting dark. Izuku, he pull up, right? He pull up on Crystal. And Crystal, Crystal, she got that, she all that energy still, like, 'cause she's still mad. What she's seen did not disqualify how upset she is, but she also wants answers, right? She ain't just blinded by rage anymore. And she also feels like it was mean for Izuku to spurred on that rage in the car, because she understands what happened. She needed some time to cool off, but she understands what happened, right? And Izuku, he like, what, that's on me, but I felt like he should have got that get back. They over here replacing you with people that didn't exist previously. They over here sent you away for no reason. Basically, I don't even think this was a villain quirk. Like, you could have did what you wanted to do. You could have had great life. And now you here. But that's besides the point. He like, we still gotta finish the job. If, she wants to, of course. And she like, they probably not gonna be like out on the streets no more, this, that, and the third. And he was like, we was just going into the city because, that's where they were at the time. But we know they at the house now. Like, there's no reason for them to have been attacked and then go back outside. They're gonna go in the house this time. You feel me? They're gonna stay in the house, watch some family movies or something. And she looked back up at Izuku on some like, is it really okay for us to go tonight? And he was like, you got questions you want answered, right? And she do got questions she want answered. So That's what they make the plan, man. That's what the plan is. But I appreciate y'all for watching. And thanks for being here, man. I still got, ideas, still got plans. And I think we'll be coming up on I think we'll be working with some of those plans soon. But that's for next time. See y'all later.